Today's rant is about Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel and the direction I hope the game takes to further its prowess amongst competitive online card games. I have been playing Master Duel since a few months after its release and I currently play it now. While I have taken many breaks from the game, I always find myself gravitating back towards it when they release new cards that pique my interest. Most of the time, those breaks were onset by either my lack of interest in the meta or real life taking place and time being the biggest limiting factor to learning new cards, as it is for most of us. As the game has gotten older and the card pool has inevitably gotten a lot larger, while also being stuck in this best of one format with so many archetypes at your disposal, I can see why it is daunting to try and get into the game competitively at the moment. Back when the game first launched, there was a handful of top tier, powerful meta decks and a buttload of rogue decks, or for those not invested in the card game world, decks that win but are winning against specific strategies most of the time. Something I had to learn when trying to get better competitively is relevant decks are rated on a tier system, so tier 1 being the obvious best deck, tier 2 and 3 being archetypes that are 1 to 2 good cards away from being that tier 1, and then a rogue tier which usually relies on a somewhat linear strategy that hard counters one of those strategies, or sometimes multiple of those strategies. When I initially learned this, it turned me off from the game for several months as I was discouraged to try and play all of my childhood favorites on the best of one ladder that is so infamous for feeling impossible to climb with anything less than a tier 3 deck. After taking a break from the game for an extended period of time, I came back with fresh eyes and a new perspective. These tiers exist for a reason, right? Just like a MOBA gets patch notes, Yu-Gi-Oh! And most card games get meta-shifting cards to either slow down or speed up specific strategies. I began to understand what makes a card valuable, what makes an archetype inherently better than another, and what to look for when building a new deck that not only matches your specific playstyle, but can hold its own against random opponents in the Tower of Babel ladder that is Master Duel. Like I said, I've been playing Master Duel for a while now, and while I think the best of one format works well enough, the game has expanded far too much for this to be the normal format for competitive matches, with Konami releasing 2 to 3 top-tier archetypes a month, and the release of support cards for older archetypes being further and further between. I believe it is paramount to this community and Master Duel as a whole that they create a multiple ladder system that offers different rewards, options for players to enjoy. A set system, similar to how a fighting game operates, should be implemented so that players above a certain rank can request a set after that first match, allowing players to side in cards from their side deck like in the trading card game or physical format for those who don't follow card games. This would allow immense growth for those who are truly looking to get good at this game. While I do think there still is room for that best of one format, it's very clear that it halts the learning curve for a lot of players. When you're learning how to deal with a specific archetype, it's super important that you play against the same player using the same deck multiple times. Players vary widely in not only skill, but in their ability to showcase a deck in multiple scenarios. Yu-Gi-Oh is a game of memorization and patterns, so allowing the player to play in sets against the same opponent speeds up this process of memorization for the player, leading them to understand patterns and lines quickly. That's my rant for today. Thanks for checking this video out and subscribe for more Master Duel content. Peace. Enjoy the Centurion gameplay.